The Velkorath Empire had ruled the outer spiral for 3,000 years. Their ships darkened the skies of 100 worlds. Their soldiers numbered in the billions. Their technology could crack planets like eggs and harvest the cores for fuel. No species had ever challenged them and survived. So when their scouts discovered the small blue planet on the edge of an unremarkable star system, they expected the usual outcome. Another primitive civilization, another easy conquest, another world to add to their empire. Admiral Crixthon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, and watched the planet rotate slowly on the main screen. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he studied the data. "Interesting," he said, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. "They call themselves humans. They have achieved basic space travel. They have spread to their moon and a few nearby planets." His second-in-command, Commander Vess, stepped forward. Her scales gleamed under the bridge lights. "Shall I prepare the standard subjugation protocol, Admiral? We could have this system under our control within a standard rotation." Crixthon clicked his jaw, a sign of agreement. "Yes, send the warning transmission. Give them the usual terms. Surrender or face annihilation." The transmission went out across all frequencies. It was the same message the Velkorath had sent to dozens of species before. "Surrender your worlds. Submit to our rule. Your people will serve the Empire. Resist, and we will destroy everything you have built." On Earth, the message arrived during a regular Monday morning. People were going to work, children were going to school, and coffee was being poured in offices around the world. Then every screen, every radio, every communication device suddenly showed the same thing. A massive alien face with 4 eyes and scaled skin, speaking words that translation software quickly converted to every human language. "We are the Velkorath Empire. Your world now belongs to us. You will surrender your governments, your militaries, and your resources. You will serve the Empire in whatever capacity we require. If you refuse, we will reduce your cities to ash. You have 1 planetary rotation to decide." The world went silent for exactly 3 hours. Then humanity responded. Admiral Crixthon was reviewing conquest logistics when the human transmission arrived. He expected begging. He expected desperate negotiations. He expected the usual pitiful attempts to bargain for better terms. Instead, he received a single image, a human hand with the middle finger extended upward. "What is this?" he demanded. "What does this symbol mean?" His cultural analysis team worked frantically. When they reported back, their voices were uncertain. "Admiral, this appears to be a gesture of extreme disrespect. It essentially means they reject our offer in the strongest possible terms." Crixthon felt his scales flush with anger. "They insult us? A species that has not even achieved faster-than-light travel dares to insult the Velkorath Empire?" "There is more, Admiral. We are receiving additional transmissions from their world, audio files. They appear to be some form of cultural expression." The bridge filled with sound, heavy drums, screaming vocals, aggressive rhythms that seemed designed to stir violence and rage. The humans called it heavy metal. "They are sending us war music," Commander Vess said slowly. "Admiral, they are not afraid. They are preparing to fight." Crixthon laughed, a harsh sound like metal scraping metal. "Let them prepare. Let them feel brave. It will make their defeat all the more satisfying. Begin the invasion. We will teach these humans the price of disrespect." The Velkorath fleet moved toward Earth. 300 warships, each one capable of destroying a city in a single blast. 50 troop carriers, each holding 10,000 soldiers. Support vessels, fighter craft, and orbital bombardment platforms followed behind. On Earth, humanity watched the fleet approach. Satellites tracked every ship. Radio telescopes calculated their trajectory. Military installations around the world went to full alert. The United Nations held an emergency session. World leaders argued about response strategies. Scientists worked desperately to understand the alien technology. Ordinary people looked up at the sky and wondered if these were their last days. But something strange happened. Instead of panic, instead of despair, a different feeling spread across the planet. Anger, determination, defiance. Humans had spent their entire history fighting each other. They had invented countless ways to kill and destroy. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters that should have ended them. And now some aliens thought they could just show up and take over? Factories that had been closed for years suddenly reopened. Engineers who had retired came back to work. Military forces that had been rivals for generations began sharing information and coordinating strategies. In bunkers and laboratories around the world, humanity's brightest minds looked at every piece of technology they had and asked one question: how can we turn this into a weapon? Admiral Crixthon received reports as his fleet crossed the outer planets of the human system. The humans were mobilizing. They were launching every ship they had. They were positioning satellites and stations. They have fewer than 50 combat-capable vessels, Commander Vess reported. Most are small. Their weapons are primitive kinetic systems and basic nuclear warheads. They cannot possibly hope to stop us. Of course they cannot, Crixthon agreed. But I admire their spirit. Most species simply surrender when they see our fleet. These humans actually intend to fight. Should we be concerned, Admiral? Crixthon made the Velkorath equivalent of a smile. Concerned? No. But perhaps we should be respectful. They are about to die for their world. That deserves some acknowledgement. The first battle came near the orbit of Mars. 20 human ships against 100 Velkorath fighters. The result was expected. The human ships were slower, less maneuverable, and their weapons barely scratched the alien shields. The Velkorath destroyed 15 human vessels in the first 10 minutes. But then something unexpected happened. The remaining 5 human ships did not retreat. They accelerated. They drove straight into the Velkorath formation, and then they exploded. Not random explosions, deliberate ones. The humans had overloaded their reactors and detonated their ships like massive bombs. The blasts took out 20 Velkorath fighters. Commander Vess stared at the screen. They killed themselves. They deliberately killed themselves to damage our forces. Admiral Crixthon felt the first small seed of doubt plant itself in his mind. Admiral, a sensor officer called out, we are detecting unusual readings from Earth. They appear to be launching something. Thousands of objects entering space. Crixthon watched the display. Thousands of contacts rising from the human world. What are they? He demanded. The answer came back slowly. They appear to be missiles, Admiral. Nuclear missiles. Every nation on the planet is launching every nuclear weapon they possess. Into space. Toward us. The humans were throwing everything they had at the Velkorath fleet. The war for Earth had begun. The nuclear missiles streaked through space like angry stars, thousands of them. Decades of atomic weapons that humans had built to threaten each other now flew toward a common enemy. Admiral Crixthon watched the swarm approach on his tactical display. He was not worried. Velkorath shields could handle nuclear explosions. Their point defense systems could destroy most of the missiles before they even got close. Activate defense grid, he commanded. Destroy the missiles at maximum range. The Velkorath fleet opened fire. Laser batteries and plasma cannons filled space with deadly light. Missiles exploded by the hundreds, turning into brief flowers of atomic fire, but the humans had launched thousands. The Velkorath destroyed 80% of the missiles, then 90%, but the remaining weapons kept coming. Some of them got through. Nuclear explosions bloomed against Velkorath shields. The flagship shuddered as 3 warheads detonated against its barrier. The shields held, but they flickered. They drained. Shield strength down to 70%, the engineering officer reported. Crixthon felt his jaw clench. One attack and his flagship had lost 30% of its shield power. Impossible. Primitive nuclear weapons should not be able to do that much damage. "Admiral," Commander Vess said quietly, "I am reading the composition of those warheads. They are not standard fission or fusion weapons. The humans have enhanced them. They have added materials that create secondary reactions. Each warhead is 3 times more powerful than our initial analysis suggested. The humans had improved their weapons. In the short time since the Velkorath had sent their ultimatum, humans had upgraded their nuclear arsenal. They had made their bombs more deadly. More missiles were launching from Earth. A second wave, larger than the first. "All ships advance," Crixthon ordered. "We will not wait here and let them throw rocks at us. We will take the battle to them. Push through to the planet. Begin orbital bombardment." The fleet surged forward. 300 warships accelerating toward Earth. They crossed the orbit of the moon in hours and entered near-Earth space. That was when the humans sprung their trap. The moon had been busy. In the days since the Velkorath ultimatum, humanity had moved every resource they had to their lunar colonies. Factories had worked around the clock. Engineers had slept in shifts, and they had built weapons, railguns, massive electromagnetic accelerators that could throw metal slugs at incredible speeds. The humans had mounted dozens of them on the lunar surface, hidden beneath camouflage and fake terrain. They opened fire. Metal projectiles moving at 15 kilometers per second slammed into the Velkorath fleet. The slugs had no warheads, no explosives, no fancy technology. They were just heavy pieces of metal moving very fast, and at those speeds they hit like atomic bombs. The first slug punched through a Velkorath cruiser's shields and tore through its hull. The ship broke apart. 2 more cruisers died before the fleet even understood what was happening. "Return fire!" Crixthon roared. "Destroy those guns!" The Velkorath fleet bombarded the moon. Their weapons turned lunar craters into slag. They melted the railgun positions into glass. But the humans had built redundancy into their systems. For every gun the Velkorath destroyed, 2 more opened fire from different locations. 12 Velkorath ships died before the railguns went silent. Crixthon stared at the casualty reports. 12 capital ships, destroyed by a species that had not even left its home system before this century. He felt something he had not felt in decades of conquest: uncertainty. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out. "New contacts, human ships, coming from behind the planet. They must have been hiding in Earth's shadow." The remaining human fleet appeared. 43 vessels, small, crude, and primitive compared to Velkorath warships. But the humans had been busy with these too. Their ships now carried new weapons, lasers they had reverse-engineered from the Velkorath fighters destroyed at Mars, missiles with improved guidance systems, armor plating made from experimental materials. The humans attacked. They came in fast and reckless, weaving through the Velkorath formation. Their tactics made no sense by normal military standards. They broke every rule of fleet engagement. They flew too close, attacked from impossible angles, and took insane risks. But those risks paid off. Human ships would dive toward a Velkorath vessel, fire everything they had at point-blank range, and then pull away before the enemy could respond. If a human ship got damaged, it would accelerate toward the nearest Velkorath target and detonate. They were not fighting to win. They were fighting to hurt, to make every single death cost the Velkorath dearly. Commander Vess watched a human frigate destroy itself against a Velkorath carrier. The carrier survived, but barely. Its weapons were gone. Its engines were damaged. "They do not fear death," she said. "They welcome it if it means taking us with them." "It is wasteful," Crixthon replied. "They are throwing away ships and crews for minimal gains." "Minimal?" Vess pointed at the tactical display. "Admiral, we have lost 47 ships, nearly 15% of our fleet, against a species we thought we could conquer in a single day." Crixthon said nothing. He watched the battle continue, watched more of his ships die. The humans were losing faster. Their fleet was almost gone. But they kept fighting. Every ship, every crew, fighting until the end. The last human warship was a small destroyer called the Defiant. It had taken heavy damage. Its weapons were mostly gone. It was venting atmosphere from a dozen holes, but it was still flying. The Defiant aimed itself at the Velkorath flagship and accelerated. "Destroy it!" Crixthon ordered. The Eternal Dominion opened fire with everything it had. Plasma bolts and laser beams tore into the small human ship. They ripped away its hull. They destroyed its engines. But the Defiant did not stop. Its momentum carried it forward. A dead ship, still moving toward its target. It struck the flagship's shields and exploded. The Eternal Dominion shook. Lights flickered. Systems failed and restarted. "Damage report," Crixthon demanded. "Shields are down to 12%. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. Forward weapons array is offline." One small ship had nearly crippled a Velkorath flagship. Crixthon looked at the tactical display. The human fleet was gone, destroyed. Earth's orbital defenses were shattered. The path to the planet was clear, but the Velkorath fleet had paid a terrible price. 63 ships destroyed, another 40 damaged, thousands of soldiers dead. "We have won," Commander Vess said. Her voice was quiet. "The orbital battle is over." "Yes," Crixthon agreed. "Now we must take the planet itself." He looked at Earth on the screen. A blue and green world still spinning peacefully below them. "Begin landing operations," he ordered. "Send the ground forces down. We will occupy their major cities and force their surrender." The troop carriers moved into position. Thousands of landing craft launched toward the planet's surface. Velkorath soldiers prepared their weapons and armor. They expected resistance. They expected the humans to fight. They did not expect what they found. The first landing force came down in a major human city. 10,000 Velkorath soldiers, heavily armed and armored. They expected to face a military defense. Instead, the city was empty. No soldiers, no civilians, no one. "Where are they?" the ground commander demanded. "Where are the humans?" The answer came soon enough. The building next to the landing zone exploded. Then another. Then another. The entire city block came down on top of the Velkorath soldiers. The humans had rigged their own city with explosives. They had abandoned it and left it as a trap. Across the planet, landing forces met the same fate. Booby-trapped cities, poisoned water supplies, bridges that collapsed when Velkorath vehicles crossed them, tunnels that flooded, buildings that burned. The humans were not fighting a normal war. They were fighting a war of destruction, a war where they destroyed everything rather than let the enemy have it. Admiral Crixthon received the ground reports on his damaged flagship. His forces were dying, not in battle, but in traps and ambushes and disasters. "They are fighting like animals," Commander Vess said, "like cornered predators." "No," Crixthon replied slowly. "They are fighting like a species that would rather die than surrender." He finally understood what the humans were. They were not primitives to be conquered. They were not resources to be harvested. They were the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. A species with nothing to lose. The ground war stretched into weeks, then months. The Velkorath held territory during the day, but the nights belonged to the humans. They attacked from everywhere, from sewers and subway tunnels, from mountains and forests, from the rubble of their own destroyed cities. They used captured Velkorath weapons. They used improvised explosives. They used knives and clubs and bare hands when they had nothing else. Every Velkorath patrol that went out came back smaller. Every supply convoy got ambushed. Every command post got attacked. The humans called it resistance. The Velkorath called it madness. Admiral Crixthon stayed in orbit, coordinating the occupation from his damaged flagship. Every day, he received reports of more losses, more soldiers dead, more equipment destroyed. more territory lost to guerrilla attacks. We control less than 30% of their major land masses, Commander Vess reported, and we cannot hold that territory without constant military presence. The moment our forces leave an area, the humans take it back. Then we do not leave, Crixton said. We reinforce. We bring in more troops. Admiral, we have already committed every soldier from the invasion force. We have lost over 40,000 troops. If we want to reinforce, we will need to request additional forces from the Empire. Request additional forces. Admit that the conquest of one primitive world had cost them more than any previous campaign. Crixton knew what that would mean for his career, for his honor. But the alternative was worse. Send the request, he ordered. The Velkorath Empire responded. They sent another 100 ships, another 200,000 soldiers, the largest reinforcement in Imperial history for a single world conquest. The new forces arrived and descended to the planet. They expected to turn the tide. They expected their numbers to finally overwhelm the human resistance. Instead, they found something unexpected. The humans had been busy during the weeks of guerrilla warfare. They had captured Velkorath technology. They had studied it. They had learned from it. And now they were using it. The first sign came when a Velkorath dropship got shot down by a plasma weapon, a weapon that humans should not have. Then another dropship fell. Then a fighter. Then a gunship. They have our weapons, a ground commander reported, panic in his voice. They have built copies of our plasma rifles, our shields, our communication systems. The humans had not just stolen Velkorath technology. They had reverse-engineered it, improved it, mass-produced it. In a few months, they had closed a gap of thousands of years of technological development. Admiral Crixton stared at the reports in disbelief. How is this possible? It takes decades to reverse-engineer advanced technology, centuries to improve on it. The humans have millions of engineers, Commander Vess replied. Millions of scientists. They have been working constantly since the invasion began. They do not sleep. They do not rest. They work until they collapse, and then someone else takes their place. The war changed again. Now the humans fought back with real power. They formed proper military units with Velkorath-style weapons. They built vehicles and aircraft using captured designs. They even launched new ships from hidden facilities, ships armed with plasma cannons and protected by energy shields. The occupation became a war, a real war. And the Velkorath started losing. City after city fell back into human hands. Velkorath forces retreated to fortified positions. The reinforcement fleet that was supposed to crush the resistance found itself fighting for survival. Admiral Crixton called a meeting of his senior officers. Their faces on the communication screens looked tired, scared. We cannot win this, one of the ground commanders said. Not with the forces we have. The humans adapt too quickly. They learn too fast. Every tactic we use, they find a counter. Every weapon we deploy, they capture and copy. We need more reinforcements, another officer suggested. There are no more reinforcements, Crixton replied. The Empire will not send more forces. They are already questioning why this campaign has cost so much. Silence fell over the meeting. Then what do we do? Commander Vess asked. Crixton looked at the planet on his screen. Earth. A small blue world that should have been an easy conquest. A world that had cost him nearly half his fleet and hundreds of thousands of soldiers. We have one option remaining, he said slowly. Orbital bombardment. Full planetary devastation. We burn their cities, their farms, their forests. We leave nothing alive. The officers exchanged looks. Planetary devastation was the ultimate sanction. It meant admitting that a species could not be conquered, could not be controlled, could only be destroyed. The Empire will approve this? Vess asked. The Empire will approve it because we will tell them the truth, Crixton replied. These humans are too dangerous to leave alive. If we do not destroy them now, They will come for us. In 100 years. In 1,000 years. They will build ships that cross the galaxy. They will develop weapons that match our best. And they will remember what we tried to do to their world. He paused. Humans do not forget. They do not forgive. If we leave them alive, they will be the end of the Empire. The order went out. All Velkorath ground forces began immediate evacuation. The fleet moved into bombardment position. Weapon systems charged. Earth had 1 hour to live. On the planet's surface, humans watched the Velkorath retreat. They saw the ships moving into formation. They understood what was coming. But they did not run. They did not hide. They prepared one final attack. Every nuclear weapon they had left, every plasma cannon they had captured, every ship they had built, everything humanity had remaining, they aimed at the Velkorath fleet. And then they sent a message. Admiral Crixthon received the transmission on his flagship. A human appeared on screen, a military officer with gray hair and tired eyes. "This is General Catherine Cole of the United Earth Defense Force," she said. "You are about to destroy our world. We cannot stop you. But I want you to understand something before you fire." She leaned forward. "We have sent ships, small ships, hidden in asteroid fields and behind moons. They are carrying nuclear weapons, enhanced weapons, the same kind we used against your fleet. They are on their way to your homeworld right now." Crixthon felt ice form in his chest. "You are lying," he said. "You do not have faster-than-light travel." "We did not have plasma weapons 2 months ago," General Cole replied. "We did not have energy shields. We did not have artificial gravity or inertial dampeners. Now we have all of those things. Did you really think we would not figure out your star drives?" The human smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "Our ships are slow compared to yours, crude. They will take months to reach your worlds. But they will get there. And when they do, they will detonate in your cities, in your shipyards, in your breeding facilities. We built 50 of them, 50 ships, each with enough firepower to devastate a continent." "We will find them," Crixthon said. "We will destroy them." "Maybe, maybe not. Space is very large and our ships are very small, but even if you find some of them, you will not find all of them. And it only takes one." General Cole straightened. "So here is my offer. You leave. You take your fleet and your soldiers and you go back to your empire. You never return to our system. You never threaten our world again. If you do this, we will recall our ships. We will not attack your homeworld. We will let you live. And if we refuse, then you destroy Earth and we destroy your civilization. Everybody dies. Everybody loses." General Cole stared into the camera. "We are humans, Admiral. We are what you made us. You came to our world and tried to take everything from us. You created an enemy that will never stop fighting, never stop hating, never stop coming for you." She paused. "Congratulations. You provoked the galaxy's deadliest species. Now decide how you want this to end." Admiral Crixthon sat in silence for a long moment. He looked at his officers. He looked at the planet below. He thought about his homeworld, his family, his people. Then he gave the order. The Velkorath fleet withdrew. Ships that had come to conquer turned around and left. Soldiers who had fought for months returned to their transports. The most powerful military force in the outer spiral ran away from a species that had not even discovered faster-than-light travel a year ago. Admiral Crixthon watched Earth shrink on his screen as his fleet accelerated toward home. "Do you think she was telling the truth?" Commander Vess asked. "Do you think they really sent ships to our homeworld?" Crixthon thought about everything he had seen. The humans who destroyed themselves to damage his fleet. The soldiers who fought to the death in every battle. The species that burned their own cities rather than surrender them. "Yes," he said, "I think she was telling the truth. Because that is exactly what humans would do." He turned away from the screen. Send a message to Imperial Command. Tell them Earth is to be designated a forbidden zone. No Velkorath ship is to enter their system. No contact is to be made. What reason shall I give? Crixthan thought for a moment. Tell them we found a death world. A world so dangerous that even the Velkorath Empire cannot conquer it. Tell them to leave the humans alone. He paused. And tell them to pray the humans leave us alone too. The Velkorath Empire never returned to Earth. The Forbidden Zone stayed in place for centuries. Warnings passed down through generations. Never go to the human system. Never provoke the humans. Never give them a reason to come for us. And on Earth, humanity looked up at the stars and began to build. Ships that could cross galaxies. Weapons that could crack worlds. An empire that would one day stretch across 1,000 systems. They never forgot what the Velkorath tried to do, and they never forgave. But that is another story.